welcome to the Henry Disc Golf channel. My name is Jerry. Today we are going to be doing a little bit of a sidearm practice round and also testing out the Supra from Finish Line Discs, trying to see if it's going to go ahead and make the bag. Today we are at BVR Park in Waukegan. BVR Park is a pretty decent little disc golf course. It's up to 16 holes and they're planning on getting 2 more put in to make 18. So here we are on hole number 1. Hole number 1 is a 190-foot par 3. The first disc I threw was a Big Z Zone. The second disc was a Supra on a sidearm, and the third was a Jawbreaker Zone. Here's the results from my Big Z Zone. This was also a really windy day, so putting was definitely a little bit on the harder side. Being a tailwind like that, it tends to knock my disc down. So I did wind up throwing a Champion Eagle. This is hole number 2. It's a 300-foot par 3. A Champion Eagle on backhand, and then I realized I was wanting to throw sidearm, so I did wind up grabbing my Finish Line Composite Era and just threw it completely nose up. Definitely need to work a little bit more on the nose angles. Here are the results of my Eagle shot. I was throwing the Finish Line Pace as an upshot disc there with the way the wind was. It's kind of a bit of a headwind there. And then did wind up missing the putt there. So my putt being super nose down, at times when I have tailwind putts, it actually lifts the putt, and then other times it when I have headwind putts, it actually drops the putts, which is a little bit weird. This is hole number 2. Hole number 2 is a 251-foot par 3. I was throwing my Champion Eagle. That's a little bit more on the beat up side on a nice flex line. Put it about 25 short of the basket. This here is the Finish Line Supra. I threw it on a bit of hyzer, and it definitely skipped quite a bit away from the basket, and then I threw the Jawbreaker Zone. The Jawbreaker Zone pushed all the way back by those trees, which is actually like 30 feet past the basket. A nice up and down putt there for the 2. Here we are on hole number 3. Hole number 4 is a 261-foot par 3. I did throw my more overstable Eagle, kind of going into the headwind that we had that day. Definitely was nose up, wound up clipping those branches and dropping down. Next up, we threw the Finish Line Supra. Just put it on too much angle, and also with the headwind, it did wind up just knocking it down and turning it over a bit too much, turned into a roller. And then we threw the Jawbreaker Zone again. I've been on a little bit of a kick of throwing my Jawbreaker Zone and my Soft Zone quite a bit. Here is the Soft Zone on an upshot. With the headwind, it did push up quite a bit, but it did drop down by the basket close enough to get a good putt. Not to say that I wasn't trying to miss it, but it definitely was one of those things. Here we are on hole number 5. Hole number 5 is a 259-foot par 3. It's probably a little bit shorter than that because this is a new pin, a new tee pad, and it also throwing to the old basket because the new basket area hasn't gotten open yet. So we did wind up throwing a sidearm into the tree. It did drop down right there. And then the results of the upshot, tapping it in for par. On to hole number 6. Hole number 6 is a 231-foot par 3. There I was throwing my Neutron Matrix, turned it over a little bit, and then I did go with the Big Z Zone, trying to throw a little bit more of a flex line at it. It did wind up coming up just a touch short. This one actually got about pin high. The Matrix did hit a nice putt there to take another 2. Here we are on hole number 7. Hole number 7 is a 216-foot par 3. I threw the zone there, didn't really get any flex on it. It did hyzer out and it is over by the bike path. And then I did also try throwing the Supra nice and straight. Just wound up not throwing it all that hard, and it wound up dropping pretty early. Here are the results from the Big Z Zone, throwing a blue Star Aviar, putt and approach on an approach shot. Did wind up pushing it a little bit too far to the left, but that's fine because we make the comeback putt there. On hole number 8 is a 178-foot par 3, throwing the jawbreaker zone there on a sidearm. It did wind up popping over just a little bit, and then on our secondary shot here, we did throw the finish line pace and absolutely park the hole. Here are the results from the jawbreaker zone. Up and down style putt, tapping it in, and then here you can see the results of the pace and also tapping that in as well. So here we are on hole number 9. Hole number 9 is a 219-foot par 3. We're throwing the jawbreaker zone and then the soft zone. Jawbreaker zone did get through the gap really well and did wind up going towards the basket. We're still left with about a 30-footer away, and then the soft zone hits the tree and drops basically straight down. A little flustered with my shot there, but here are the results of the zone. Big up and down style putt, definitely hit the top of the basket there, and then dunk it off the cage to then take a bogey, unfortunately, but that's how it goes sometimes. Moving on to hole 10. Hole 10 is a 303-foot par 3. Throwing a nice little flip up with the understable eagle. Got it down there pretty good. This is definitely one that I was really happy with my throw. And then the attempt at the 2, hitting the cage, and then of course kicking away from the basket. But we can make that comebacker right there for a par. Here is hole number 11. Hole number 11 is a 204-foot par 3. Trying to flex a sidearm down there, hit some trees and drop down, throwing the Supra, and then throwing the one that I've been really enjoying. This one actually hits the cage and drops down. Super good shot. I did miss my upshot from the first drive, so that was my putt for par. With the way the stream runs through there, it was really hard to put the camera anywhere that I could get a good spot. And then the results from my one that hit the pole, just a few feet away. Here we are on hole number 12. Hole number 12 is a 234-foot par 3. First up, I was throwing the Supra, and then I was throwing a Matrix. This Matrix went past the basket and almost into the path OB. That was a bomb. And then again, throwing the jawbreaker zone because I've been on a bit of a zone kick. And that one is nice and smooth down there by the basket. I did not get the putts from that, but I did wind up taking a birdie. Here is hole number 13. Hole number 13 is a 279-foot par 3. I threw the soft zone first, hung it out a little too wide, and then threw the other jawbreaker zone and absolutely put it by the basket. Here are the results from the soft zone. Nice little upshot with the pace. Really windy. I like to go to that disc. Here is the results from the jawbreaker zone. Definitely would have liked to have had that too, but we do tap it in for a par. Moving on to hole number 14. Hole number 14 is a 285-foot par 3. Take the jawbreaker zone, put it on a pretty good line there. It wound up popping up a little bit to flat and just going down there. And then here is the soft zone. It just hyzers off quite a bit too much. Here are the results from the jawbreaker zone. Left myself with about a 20-footer there. Capitalizing there on the birdie. Here we are on hole number 15. Hole number 15 is a 256-foot par 3. Throwing the jawbreaker zone there. Keeping it just a little too straight. Did get it pin high. Again, really windy. Definitely starting to get dark now. Just wanted to pitch it up. Card my par. Super happy with that. And then I do throw a jawbreaker zone again, and the soft zone again here on hole 16. Hole 16 is a 333-foot par 3. Both of these were literally just thrown basically into the ground, kept them too low with the low ceiling, and they both dropped down right here. Here's the results of the jawbreaker one. Threw that one really nice. It did wind up popping up to flat with the way the wind was, and did just settle right underneath the basket. Here are the results of that shot. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Make it good for somebody else.